Hey guys, and welcome to episode 14 of Omnifactory. Last time we sent our first few tier 2 microminers, which is really nice. We also got our tungsten set up. We're now processing our tungstate in the blast furnaces over there. I did manage to fix that issue at the end of last episode where the craft wouldn't self-clear. I basically just added an extra export bus rather than the capacity card with this. I have done actually quite a lot in between episodes here. I got a bit carried away and just kept adding to things. So yeah, I'll show you that in a bit, but first, now that we have radon, I would like to get the wireless terminal. That is going to be a big help. So the wireless terminal allows you to access your AE system from anywhere. And this recipe doesn't really look too bad. The only thing that was holding us back was getting this Infinity Booster card, which requires Quantumize, which requires radon, which we now have from the microminer. So let's put in all the recipes for these. This requires the EV emitter, which I believe we can now do. Platinum rods, we can do that. Tier 4 circuits, we have those. Yeah, this doesn't look too bad. This also uses our titanium plates, which I've been letting build up as well. Actually, I'm not sure how many we're on now. 688, which is really nice actually. I didn't expect to have that much, but I upgraded the ore processing a bit more as well. I'll show you that. Alright, all the recipes are in. Now can we get this? Yes, we can. We'll also need a chemical bath, I think it is, to get these Quantumize. HV chemical bath, so I'll put in the recipe for that as well. So for this, I'm just going to borrow, we need an EV electrolyzer, so I'm just going to borrow this one just for a second. And then I need to electrolyze this radium salt. I don't know if it'll let me with the hydrogen in there. That seems to have worked, so we can pick up a bucket of radon, sorry. That's also a quest. And then if we chemical bath this with Quantumize, or sorry, with Enderize, we'll get Quantumize. And a quest. And now we can request the Infinity Booster card. This will give us infinite range on our wireless terminal. So there's one of those. And I think the crafting terminal should be finished now, yes. Nice. We just need a way of accessing it now, so we need an access point. And we also need a security terminal in order to link the wireless to our network. There's a security terminal. So when we put our crafting terminal inside the security network, that will link it. Actually, I'm going to move it over here. I did move some things around, I'll show you that in a bit. So yeah, we'll link our wireless terminal. Place our access point down here. Put in the Infinity Booster card. Wait, yeah, the Infinity Booster card goes inside the terminal, we don't even need this access point. Nah, we don't need it. I think this is only if you're using the ranged ones, but that doesn't apply to us anyway. So nice, now we have wireless crafting anywhere. And I can even use this as in a bobble slot to avoid taking up a hotbar slot as well. And I have this bound on C. So yeah, I'll show you what I've done in between episodes here. So first thing I done was automate this crystal growth chamber. I have 2 of them now. So this one here makes the pure crystals, the pure fluix, the pure nether quartz, the pure certus. And then that's just done on demand. And then this one here will supply certus quartz and that charges it. And then once I have below 128 fluix, it will extract from here and make fluix crystals in this one. And then that just gets extracted out of this side and into this interface. So that gives us fluix and the pure crystals. I also automated these inscribers. So I just have a recipe for each processor. And this provides the raw ingredients. So the silicon one goes here. And then each of the other presses are in these 3. And the middle one completes the craft. I've put acceleration cards in them all. And yeah, you can get away with doing this with the advanced one, since they're smart input and output. I just have a filter on the main one with these basic circuits here. And then it's all extracted on blue back to the interface. Another system I've added here is for these boards. These multi-layer fiber reinforced circuit boards. These are for the next tier circuit again. And these take the previous tier, so the fiber reinforced, which we have here, and combine with Electrum and sulfuric acid. So that's done in this chemical reactor here. And I have the limit set on this for the previous tier boards at 1000. So when we're over 1000, it will produce the next tier. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep that limit as is or if I'll change it. But I had to move a couple of machines around and it does fit, although this is a bit wonky. But yeah, it works, so it's what we've got for now. And our epoxy resin production isn't that high, so this really isn't running all that often. It's just because we're short on chlorine is what it comes down to. So yeah, for this we need Electrum Foil. So this is being made here. I just have a compressor and a cluster mill, and this is limited to 1 stack. And so for that, I've also added a passive system for Electrum. That's just set at the normal 2048 items. And I have just an alloy smelter here, smelting silver and gold. And yeah, one thing I also did just add was this ore washing plant. This used to be MV, it's now at HV, which is significantly faster. I mean, it's still slow, but we're probably never going to get through this backlog. There's a lot of ores I'd like to process. So yeah. One more thing I added between episodes was this nano processing assembly. This is the 3rd tier 4 circuit. And this uses the nano circuit which we got last time. And also the nano CPUs, the fiber reinforced circuit boards, fine aluminium wire, and the SMD diodes. This also takes small coils. And for now I'm using steel bolts for these, but you can get a bigger yield on small coil if you use nickel, zinc, ferrite. But I don't really have access to a lot of nickel for this, or zinc. Maybe once we get ore processing though, this is going to be a better option because it gives you increased yield on the small coil. But this nano processor allows us to make EV machines a lot cheaper. Alright, so now on to what we're in today. I would like to set up even more blast furnaces here. So we got the tungsten online last time. I think I'll move this over 1, and then I'm going to put red alloy here. And the reason being is it's just a bit more efficient to do it this way, using molten redstone and annealed copper, than it is to use 4 redstone per and 1 copper. So this way we'll set up something to melt redstone, and then we'll input annealed copper, and I'll move that over here. And then I think these two will be for the next tier of material, which is tungsten steel and tungsten carbide. So I want to have those in these two here. So for that we're going to need some more coils. I don't have enough to fill everything yet. I'm waiting still on some more nichrome cooking. Okay, so I've moved the tungsten over 1 block, or 1 blast furnace, and we're going to run this one at EV, and then we'll run tungsten steel and tungsten carbide at HV, because both of those take tungsten, and these are slightly faster recipes, so I don't want to run all my tungsten through these. We're obviously going to have level limiters, so I'll be able to control the amounts that we want to keep in stock. I just don't want 100% of the tungsten being turned into tungsten steel and tungsten carbide. So that is HV, right? Yeah, that's HV, and we want another HV here. And I've put an EV energy input on the tungsten one, this block here. Oh yeah, that's much faster for tungsten. I don't think actually our tungstate dust will be able to keep up. Yeah, this EV electrolyzer is pretty slow. We're going to have to probably add another one. We can get this from tungstate and also scheelite, so I think I'll add another one for scheelite as well. And that should make up the difference to allow us to keep this at 100% uptime. But for now I'll add one for the red alloy, and also remove this setup here for red alloy. So I can take out this alloy smelter here, we don't need this anymore. And then I'll have to set up a fluid extractor for redstone, so I'll do that first. So we'll set up our fluid extractor here. I'll put it on this line I suppose. And I keep forgetting that I have wireless now, it takes a while to get used to. So yeah, we'll need an interface to supply redstone. We can use the thin one. Plug that in, and then we'll get a conveyor on the top face, set to import. Configure the interface for redstone. So now this is producing molten redstone. We'll output that to a steel drum with a fluid storage bus set on high priority. Plug that in, and then all we need is a fluid interface on our blast furnace here, so we need to add a fluid input bus. We'll swap these two and put the fluid on the end, and then that means I can put a fluid interface on this, make it the thin version, and I'll rotate this up. This input hatch should pull the fluids from the interface, I'm hoping, and then I'll put the input bus there. We'll filter this for annealed copper, extract on blue again, and then we need to plug this in. And we'll add molten redstone to this fluid interface. Is that filling this now? Yeah, it's full. Nice. So then we just need to add annealed copper to the interface here. So now this should be running, making red alloy. We'll set it to just 3000 I think for now, and plug that in, set our storage monitor, and that should be it, yeah. So now I'll set up the tungsten carbide and tungsten steel. Alright, so I've hooked up the other two blast furnaces. We just have to filter the inputs now. So I've put in tungsten, carbon and steel. This one I guess we'll do tungsten carbide. So we have to input both tungsten and carbon. Wait, carbon goes in this one. And on this side it will be tungsten and steel. Alright, so now these are both running. We should now see tungsten steel and carbide in our system anytime now. Yep, there's tungsten carbide, which is all on this side. There's a quest as well. We'll lock that. And tungsten steel. This is pretty slow. There we go, there's tungsten steel. That should be a quest as well. Lock that one. And then I'll have to set level emitters for these as well. Let's first actually set up the other electrolyzer first. Where is it? Over here. Okay, so I've moved some things around here. I added another electrolyzer for Scheelite. We get this from the microminer, from tier 2 microminers. It's this granite variant that we get, this Scheelite. For now I'm just smelting it just to get the dust because our ore processing is so backed up. So I'm just going to smelt it just to get some dust. We get 2 per. So I've just threw a couple of stacks through the multi-smelter. So this will get us tungsten as well. And I'll still have to put a storage bus on here as well. Storage bus, high priority. There, so now this will make us double the tungsten. Actually, I don't need this drawer. And our blast furnaces should now be running at 100% uptime. Yeah, because this EV one making tungsten is significantly faster than these two. So hopefully we should end up with a backlog of all 3 of these materials. So the way I've set up the level emitters for these is I have basically 2 on these controllers. So there's a machine controller on the top face of this block and also on the right hand side, and same for this one here and here. These 2 top level emitters are controlling the amount of tungsten steel, so we go up to 4000 tungsten steel. And this one on the bottom is for tungsten, for this ingot here, which is the input for these 2. This level emitter is also inverted, so that when we have below 600, we stop processing tungsten steel and tungsten carbide. And when we have above 600 tungsten, these 2 will kick on in round robin mode and take 1 piece of tungsten each. I have limited item filters in here, set to just 1 so that we don't buffer 64 in the input bus. So this is a really nice solution to the problem of running through all your tungsten. I've seen this on Discord actually, so yeah, that works really well. So we just have to basically let that run now. We'll build up some more tungsten. We'll have red alloy in passive now. At least more efficient red alloy. And yeah, we're basically just waiting on ore processing as well for even more things. So the next thing that really has to be addressed today is the DML. And there's 2 reasons for this. One is we don't have enough simulation chambers making resources for us. The base resource consumption use of this base now is way higher because of all the passive systems, especially for things like steel. Like we're using a lot of iron. We still don't have any iron. So yeah, we're going to need a few more zombie data models. Although this polymer clay setup is still at, I mean, we're still using some LV machines for this, which is clearly not sufficient at all. So I'd really like to rebuild this polymer clay setup at EV. So I think today we're going to start our EV machines down this line here. I'm not sure we'll be able to power these because these are nearly maxed out here. We're at 4600 RF a tick on each dynamo. And if we look at the power consumption on the EVCEF, it's 131,000 a tick. Obviously there's no way we can sustain that at the moment. And also our N-steel energy conduits only go up to 32,000. So I think that means we have to use the 4x CEF instead of the 16x CEF. So I'll make some 4x CEFs, and then I'll probably end up using 16x wire, just so that we can upgrade these to 16x once we have polymer clay set up, and that means we can have more shulker data models and be able to upgrade these dynamos further, and then we'll have more power to run the 16x versions. So I think that sounds like a plan. I'm going to start making the EV machines we have. I've got a list of all the things we need in terms of EV machines, so I'll start putting the recipes in for those. I'm also going to kick off a batch of circuits because these do take these processor assemblies. I don't want to make too many of these because eventually we'll get the next tier, but that's still not going to be for a while, and I think this takes priority over upgrading our circuits at the moment. So yeah, all of these EV machines are going to be fairly expensive at the moment. It takes quite a bit of titanium for this, but we are up to 1,000 actually titanium, so that'll be plenty to get us started. So Pulverizer, we're going to need a few of those. We're going to need alloy smelters, electrolyzers, furnaces, chemical reactors, and a fluid extractor. So I'm going to gather up all the materials and then we'll start building the upgraded Pulsating Polymer Clay setup. As part of the requirements for upgrading this PPC, we're going to need a dense Cobble generator, and these require a bunch of lava and water buckets, and I really don't feel like setting these up myself. So I'm going to set up some fluid tanks to make lava buckets and water buckets. We're currently making lava using magma blocks here, so I've just put a fluid storage bus on there, or directly on the machine with extract only, configured to lava. Then I think I'll just extend the platform along one more tile, and then we'll put our fluid tanks in here for automation. So this, I'm just going to really quickly hook up 2 tanks. One is going to be supplied with water. We can do this to make it symmetrical, and set this to pull from the back. Actually, that's going to be too slow. I'll need to put a fluid conduit on there. And then the second tank, we'll put a fluid storage bus on there and filter it for lava. And then we can set up 2 processing patterns, one just for an empty bucket equals a lava bucket, and the second one will equal water bucket. We'll put these 2 patterns in these interfaces, and then we'll set the interside face to push pull. So now we should be able to request lava buckets. One of those. Yep, craft cleared, and it gave us the 9th bucket of lava. Same with water. I think it finished already. Yeah, it did. So now we can also request our dense Cobblestone Generator. 42 blocks of steel. That's a lot, but yeah. We'll request that. That might take a little bit to craft. Yeah, you can see the water buckets filling here. So I think I have all the other machines that we need. I made them all at EV tier. I just have to hook up our power lines actually, so let's extend our power line along. Actually, is this where we want it, or do we want it at the next square? How have I been doing these before? I've left a whole square. I guess that'll be this square here, so we want to start in this one. Yeah, middle of here. So we want our CEFs to run along here. Alright, so let's start setting up our Pulsating Polymer Clay. I've put down our CEFs. These are 4x for now, and eventually they will be upgraded to 16x. Our conduits can't handle that at the moment, so we'll have to wait until Lumium tier, I think. So yeah, we need N-steel cable, which is the EV equivalent. Last time we were using Vibrant Alloy, but we have lots of N-steel anyway because we're getting this passively. So let's lay down some power, and then let's think about how this goes. We need the Cobblestone Generator to start with, which is finished crafting. So this is going to go into 3 pulverizers, or macerators. These will all auto output. Actually no, it just has to go into the one just now. Then we have to smelt sand into glass, so we need an electric furnace. Oh, that is slow. I don't know if that'll keep up with the rest of our systems. This might have to become a multi-smelter. Yeah, I can already tell this is going to be too slow, this furnace. There's no way the nether quartz will be able to keep up, so instead of just keep building it, let's switch it out now to a multi-smelter. We have to split the sand 2 ways, so half of it has to be smelted and some of it has to be macerated again, because we need the dust, so we can output into another pulverizer, and then we have to get this output into a multi-smelter as well. So how do we split this sand? Or what's the best way to split this sand? I think if we output it to a buffer, actually if we lift this off the ground 1 block, we can run our energy cables underneath, and then what I'm thinking is we put our multi-smelter on this side. This is actually kind of difficult to figure out how I want to lay this out, because I don't think item conduits are going to be quick enough to round robin, even with full extract speeds. And the input bus is going to have to be in the bottom or the top layer, it can't be in the middle. So I was thinking about using conveyor belts, since these can move 3 stacks. But since we need to split this sand 2 ways, it might be easier just to set up 2 sets of macerators or pulverizers. That will get a bit more expensive, but it will simplify things a bit more. Okay, I think I've figured out a way to make this work. It's a bit wonky, but I think this should work. So the way I have this now is the Cobblestone Generator will go here. This will make gravel, this will make sand. The sand will then be put into this bronze chest, where it will be split with 2 conveyors, one on this side to go to this steel chest, and one on this side to go to the pulverizer. Let's put those on now. Right, so there's 2 conveyors on there. We'll then put another one for the input bus here. And then we can build our multi-smelter. I have a EV energy input hatch here to power it. And then we'll put our heat proofs on the top. So this should form the multi-block. Nice. And then the output bus is this block here. And that is going into a molecular disintegrator, which is an electrolyzer. Let's actually turn this on just to see how this works. So this gives us gravel. You're going to auto output and give us sand. You're also going to auto output and fill this chest. Like so. Some of you is going to go in here, where it's coming out as glass, and that's been turned to nether quartz. So I think we have to swap this down to a lower number, so it exports less. Obviously 1 a second is too slow, because this is going to fill up. But that means it will split it amongst these 2 things, and then we'll adjust this as needed. So that gives us nether quartz and dust. The dust needs to go up to the chemical reactor, like so, and that needs water. Okay, so this is making clay, and then the clay has to be alloy smelted with pulsating dust. So we need a fluid extractor here, alloy smelter there. Actually no, we're going to put the chemical reactor here, fluid extractor over 1 block, and then we need an ME interface to supply ender pearls. We can put that here, and we'll put a conveyor on there on import. We'll filter the interface for ender pearls. So now this should be making resonant ender, and sending it into this chemical reactor. Oh, this needs power though. Hold on, stop. What if we move this macerator up to here? We'll put the conveyor on the top side. So now that's getting sand to make dust. And then the dust goes into this chemical reactor. And then we can power this with a power cable here. This makes our clathrates. And then the clathrates need smelted into pulsating dust. So I think for this we can just use a regular electric furnace, because this process doesn't need to be quite as fast as the other one. So we can auto output to the top. Those will be smelted into pulsating dust, and then we have to get the clay and the pulsating dust into polymer clay. So it means we need a alloy smelter on one of these blocks. So we can use conduits on this with a limited item filter for pulsating dust and clay. This gives us our pulsating polymer clay. So now I just have to hook up this interface again to here with the conveyor. And then we can auto output to a drawer. Right, now we have pulsating polymer clay. Now we need to optimize this, so I don't know if all of this will be able to keep up. These clathrates I think are fast enough for the alloy smelter. It's hard to tell if our sand's going up or down here, because it's so fast in and out. I think it seems to be more or less stable though. I've sat and watched this a little bit. We're now up to 1600 polymer clay. I was playing with the extract speed on this. I've got it set to 5 items on both, and we seem to be building on sand now. So I could even put this a bit higher, to maybe 7. But this seems to be back stuff, so it's just going into this multi-smelter. Although we are keeping up on quartz. This chemical reactor is basically running 100% uptime. So yeah, we're overproducing sand. But just to keep it consistent, I'll set this to 7 as well. Now I think all that's left to do is put a storage bus on this, and then we can use it in our deep mob learning. And I'll set this to low priority since I want this polymer clay to be used last. I would rather use the lower power version, or the one that takes lower power to produce. And this will just be our backup for now, since we now don't have enough simulation chambers to saturate this. And actually, let's just upgrade this drawer all the way. We can never have too much polymer clay. And once this back stuff's, I'm fine just letting this stop. We don't need anything extra from it. And now we can modify this system slightly. And instead I'll use a drawer with a storage bus with higher priority. That way we can have insertion priority on the output side. And then we can replace this ender chest, which was the import for the polymer clay. In fact, we don't even need that ender chest anymore because we have polymer clay coming in via interface here. And we already have the storage bus on this one. So now with this we can support many more simulation chambers and loot fabricators as a result. I'm not sure the exact numbers, I'll have to double check. So I think the math comes out to 92.61 simulation chambers for one EV chemical reactor. So we can go up to 92 of these simulation chambers, which is really nice. We can, we might as well add the ones we're missing right now. So there's quite a few data models I've got left out. There is one more thing we have to be aware of, and that is the amount of ender pearls that we're producing. As you can see, we're currently in the negative for ender pearls. But that's not something we have to address straight away, especially when our consumption now is so low compared to our production. It's only once we start adding some more simulation chambers, which I think I'll do between episodes. I'll probably put storage monitors on here and rearrange them so that they're in order. But yeah, this polymer clay seems to be decent enough. We're already up to 5,000. So this is we're gonna have loads and loads and loads. This is gonna allow us to expand a lot and get even more resources that we'll need for things like signalum and lumium, which I think will be next episode. Our tungsten and its variants have been building up nicely. We're already at 600-ish on the tungsten and 170-ish on each of these. And we're now up to 1100 titanium, which is amazing. So yeah, this system came out a little bit more wonky than I wanted it to be. And we can even get rid of these ender fluid conduits once we have access to the Aqueous Accumulator. And we'll make this completely flush as well. The Aqueous Accumulator in this pack has been massively buffed, so it can basically provide infinite water. However, this requires these device frames, which require mana infused ingots. And these are a bit of a process, we need mana dust. But I think we'll save that for next time. That is actually the next part of the quest. It's all of this section here. So yeah, next time we'll set up probably full passive production of primal mana and mana infused ingots. And all of these other components as well. But yeah, I think we're out of time for today. I'm really happy with the progress today. I have a lot of free time this weekend, so expect a lot of progress. I'm really excited to get going on this. But yeah, that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you again for watching. And I'll see you tomorrow for some more Omnifactory.